Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, amazing.
Carl, Rawlinson again. Tell him he can kiss my ass.
Jonathan and I just got done seeing Sanctum, and now we're going to talk about it on a completely dreadful night here in Atlanta. I wish I could say the movie really improved the night, but it didn't really. So there's a surprising lot to say about this movie, but first of all, so the synopsis is this. You got a group of people who are exploring this massive cave. It looks like just a huge rip in the earth from above, and then it's this extensive thing, and they're trying to find the way to the bottom, and then when it finally reaches the ocean. So it's this huge cavity in the earth that they found. And there's a whole group of people who go exploring. Well, naturally, things go wrong, and it ends up being a sort of game of survival. You know, it's a real man versus nature sort of scenario. It doesn't work out for some of the men. So this is a movie produced by James Cameron. It's using a lot of the technology that he used on Avatar. It's sort of being billed as the first movie post-Avatar that he's really used it to full effect. So first of all, that. At times it does look great, but that's not because of the 3D. There's some nice cinematography, and the underwater footage is really stunning at times, but I really didn't notice a lot of effect of the 3D. So I think it's kind of a wash. If you see the movie, you know that's a joke. The story, it's typical James Cameron. As good as it looks at times, the story just lets us down repeatedly, and it's overdone. I wish he would just start making silent movies from now on, because every time his characters speak, it's painful. And that sort of ruins the whole party. If they would have not tried to overreach so much on the story, this might have been enjoyable. Or here's an idea, stick to using this technology in documentaries.
This is a movie that is intentionally frustrating. These people go into very, very dangerous places, very tight places. They swim with breathing apparatus, they swim without breathing apparatus, they swim with breathing apparatus, but then they get stuck. And they can't come up because they might fizz out. That's something we'll all learn about. They might get the evil bends or whatever. I think the 3D does work in places. You see these little places in as good a way as you possibly could. I was a little disappointed that it didn't maximize the use of that effect like it could have, because I think that we could have seen more of the caves. We should have seen more of this cathedral that is referenced within the movie. We see it very briefly, and we don't see enough of it, I think, to really leave its impression.
I would have to agree that you have a point there. Once in a while, it does enhance what we're seeing, but you know, the fact is this is a beautiful place, and as much as he took a bunch of time during Avatar to explore this world he created, now he has this, at least semi-real world, and he doesn't spend adequate time just sort of looking at it and letting us check it out, which is where the 3D really could have shined.
I was talking about it earlier about how movies like this set up a Hobson's choice. You know, constant life or death decisions, but they seem to always make the most frustrating one for us, don't you think?
Yeah, and there were more than one time in this movie when pretty much the whole row of us watching the movie just sort of looked at each other like, why was that the only option? You know, it's the most extreme option, and it's really it's forced drama. It's not drama that just sort of you know, develops naturally and logically and organically, which is what good drama should do. And so this is really stacking the deck to try to get the most effect. Now, if you look at it, it's not a horror film, okay? So there are some cave films out there that are just strictly horror films.
Like The Descent.
The Descent, exactly. Fine horror film. This is not that. However, there were moments when we were all squirming. And so as much as the story sort of dumbs everything down as dramatically, on just a pure sort of visceral level, once in a while they really do make your skin crawl and make it hurt to look at this. And
I was clenching my teeth at times.
Absolutely. And you do clench your teeth and you're on the edge. I've come to be so frustrated every time I watch a James Cameron movie. You have those moments when he really produces an effect in you, which is a great thing that the movies can do. And then he just does the most you know, mind-numbingly dumb decision, you know. And we can't blame it all on him because he is the executive producer here.
One of the choices that I think was disappointing is that this is a movie based on a true story. And yet, in the true story, as we read in the press notes, everyone survived.
Yeah.
So I guess they determined, because there are deaths in this movie, that's one of the reasons why it's rated R, I guess they decided that the true story wasn't good enough. They had to up the ante with a bunch of other stuff involving, you know, kind of vicious, evil kind of deaths.
It seems to me they mistrusted their own content. They've got to find survival story if you just stick to the real story. If you want to ramp it up a little bit, okay, that's justifiable. But here, they veer so wildly away from the real story, and they didn't realize that it's a darn good story to begin with. You know, it's a great survival tale that they had on their hands, and it didn't need doctored. It didn't need pushed over the edge like they did. In fact, they ruined it by doing that.
So I guess you didn't get your fix from Sanctum.
I didn't get my fix. I also advise you not to see this movie. I don't think it's worth the price, and I especially don't think it's worth the 3D premium that they're going to tack on.
Well, from a parking garage in rainy Atlanta at Atlantic Station, thank you for watching The Film Fix this week. I'm Jonathan W. Hickman, and my co-host behind the camera is Jeff Marker. Join us on the web at dailyfilmfix.com, where you can feed your movie addiction.